Getting back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Can be a challenge. Finding out which cards you need and how to build your deck takes time. Using an old tin filled with shitty cards, I decided to try my luck. Each week I have a budget of $5, with which I can buy Yu-Gi-Oh! Product that will help me upgrade my deck to a competitive beast. Let's get back up to speed with Yu-Gi-Oh! We are back, baby, and today's episode is our 5th one, which means that some good stuff is going to go down. At least I hope so. But first, an editor's comment. So while making this episode, the new ban list dropped. And would you look at that? The Frog Dream is apparently finally dead. With Ronin Toadin banned, I'm probably finally dropping the frogs from the deck. The ban list wasn't out during the filming of this episode, so frogs are here for one more time. Now, let's get back into the episode. Last time we encountered a big problem, and it holds a lot of the weekly progress that we should have had today. It's time for a second pack of sleeves that we buy in this series. If you've been watching this series, you know that our deck loves the silver boys, and if we want to get all of them, we need more sleeves. That is why I dropped $3.30 on a pack of some mint green dragon shields. I think this should look pimpin' with Junk Speeder and Satellite Warrior. Buying the pack drops our budget to only $1.50, which is a very low amount of money, so we need to use it carefully. I dropped 90 cents on a playset of junk converters, and I am so happy that we finally have them. I've been waiting to get them ever since the first episode dropped, and now the boys are laying here on my desk. We have 60 cents left, and if I told you that we still need to cover the shipping cost, you would probably think no more cards today. But you're wrong. I managed to squeeze in another crucial boy. We have a single copy of Jet Synchron. So what do the new cards do? Well, Junk Converter is an insane starter upgrade for the deck. Imagine having any tuner and this card in the hand. Discard both of them and add a Synchron from the deck to hand. We get Junk Synchron, and would you look at that? A level 2 in the grave ready to be robbed? Well, give me some, please. But wait, there's more. If Converter is used for a Synchro summon, we get to summon one tuner from the grave to the field. So basically a starter and extender in one card. What about Jet Synchron then? It's a target for Speeder, of course, but there is a reason it is on the limited list. Its first effect is pretty meh for us honestly, but the second one is worth it all that more. If he is dead, you can discard a card and bring him back into action. This allows some degenerate plays that our deck could definitely use right now. There is one more thing that I didn't mention. Remember last week's Boost Warriors? I only put 2 of them into the deck, but bought 3. I'm definitely putting in the third one this week. So, while I switch the sleeves of the extra deck from plain white to this nice mint green, we can talk about the episode a bit. We will refresh the deck with the new cards, and then we are about to duel a fair bit today. There is a big challenge in front of us. We absolutely need that third consecutive win under our belt. A $3 boost will be amazing for us. But let's get into deck building first. Which cards should get replaced? Well, the answer is simple. If it's at least 10 years old and doesn't have a special summon effect, it should probably dip. The first boys to come to mind are of course the penguins. And you would be correct. So to the tin they return. After that, there are dupe frogs. And once again, they are too slow and too specific with their effect. But I'm only dropping one of them. My hopes for a functioning frog engine are still alive, not minding the fact that Swap Frog is a lot for our budget. We currently have 3 level 1 tuners in our deck, so I think that one needs to go. The one to get hit is probably Unknown Synchron. It has a nice effect, but because we have Junk Speeder, it is useless in most scenarios. Last card that is dropping from the deck is Goblinberg. It's an okay card that helped us in the last episode, but Junk Converter is just a better option in all scenarios, so back to the tin. Since we have a bunch of sleeves freed up now, we can do 2 things. I'm putting both penguin soldiers face down into mint sleeves, to act as tokens that a bunch of our cards need now. The second thing that we can do is finally max out our side deck. This might sound exciting, and you will be excited, especially with some of the absolute bangers that are going in there. Sakuraitsu Armor and Call of the Haunted are some of the classics that should just stop decks like Sword Soul and Sky Striker, right? Because it's the 5th episode, I think we need to take a look at the current deck list. I'm planning to do this every 5 episodes, so take a good look now, because you probably aren't seeing the full deck until episode 10. First off, we have 3 copies of the main boy, Junk Synchron, 3 copies of Junk Converter, and 3 copies of Synchron Carrier. After that we have some extenders, Doppel Warriors and Boost Warriors. I'm running 2 copies of Quillbolt Hedgehog and a single copy of Road Synchron, Steam Synchron, Nitro Synchron, Jet Synchron and Cyber Synchron. Because it's mandatory for me, I'm running 2 Swap Frogs and a single Dupe Frog. To top it off, I'm running 1 Junk Servant. For the spells I run 3 Tuning, 2 MST, a single 1-for-1, Rota, Pot of Avarice, Card Destruction, Foolish Burial, Monster Reborn and Living Fossil. The last 2 cards of the main deck are 2 Storming Mirror Forces, because that's the best that we currently have. Extra deck is starting to look nicer and nicer now. We have 1 Satellite Warrior, Road Warrior, Colossal Fighter, Junk Destroyer, Stardust Dragon, Nitro Warrior, Dark Strike Fighter, FA Dawn Dragster, Gaia Knight, TG Hyper Librarian, 2 Junk Warriors and a single Junk Speeder. The side deck can't be really called anything less than a shining diamond of this deck, so let's check it out. We have a single Dark Hole followed by 2 Fissures, 1 MST, 1 Aneurysm, 1 Storming Mirror Force, 2 Securetsu Armor, 1 Spellbinding Circle, 2 Call of the Haunted, 3 7 Tools of the Bandit and 1 Counter Counter. Oof, and we're done. So this is the deck list. I think the strategy stays relatively the same as the last time, so you know what time it is.
It's time to duel!
Today we are finally playing against more opponents, so you guys are in for a longer episode. For the first match of the day, I'm playing against a Blue Eyes deck that isn't really functioning to its full potential. I win the dice roll and choose to start. And to no surprise, I draw the biggest brick possible. I managed to draw into every garnet of the deck. I set Quillbolt and pass. Luckily, the Blue Eyes player bricks as well, so he T-sets and passes back. On my turn, I flip Quillbolt and summon Steam Synchron, which gets me to Junk Speeder, but my amazing hand prevents me from getting all the Synchrons on board. Quillbolt is MVP of this game, and allows me to go into Hyper Librarian. Using Speeder and Cyber Synchron, I can climb into Dragster and get a draw off of Librarian. Sadly, Tuning doesn't really advance this turn's board, but I have some setup for the next turn. I proceed to battle phase and kill his White Stone of Legends with Librarian and negate its effect with Dragster, with which I attack directly. Sadly, the set back row is Mirror Force, and our field gets wiped. After that, the opponent manages to draw into Polymerization and summons Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragon. Using Soul Release, he banishes 5 monsters from my graveyard and attacks directly with his Blue Eyes. I can't really do anything here, so I set another Quillbolt and pass back. He smacks my Quillbolt and passes to me. I draw Rota, which searches me Boost Warrior. Using Junk Synchron, I bring back Quillbolt and summon Doppel Warrior and Boost Warrior from hand. The problem here is that I could turn the game if I had a Synchro Tuner, which would allow me to climb into Satellite Warrior with Doppel Warrior's tokens, but I don't. I realize I misplayed, and the only thing I can do here is pass the turn. And this is how we lose game 1, boys. A great way to get to our 3rd consecutive win, right? So, as you can see, there is no footage from game 2, because somebody forgot to press the record button, so you will need to trust me on this one. I chose to go first and climbed into Stardust Dragon and Dragster. Opponent attempts to use Polymerization and I negate it. After that, he sets a monster and 2 back row and passes. On my turn, I climb into Satellite Warrior with Stardust Dragon and Junk Synchron that I summon. Having enough Synchros in the grave, I clear his board. Using Dragster and Jet Synchron's effect from the grave, I can climb into Colossal Fighter. That is enough big boys on board to OTK in the same turn. We are back with the footage. After game 2 I realized that I didn't record, so I made sure that I did it this time. Opponent makes me go first, and that is exactly what our deck needs. I sadly don't go full combo this time, so I set Dupe Frog and MST and pass to him. He once again T-sets and passes back. I draw into Tuning, and that gets me a 2nd Junk Warrior to hand and a Swap Frog in the grave. This allows me to combo into Satellite Warrior. His back row is Mirror Force Launcher, which gets reset from the grave and searches Mirror Force, but that doesn't bother me. Reviving Jet Synchron, I can summon Doppel Warrior and Boost Warrior, with which I summon Dragster. After that, I use Living Fossil to bring back Junk Synchron and use it to bring out the main man, Junk Warrior, and attack with all 3 monsters directly. On his turn, the opponent sets 2 additional back row, and I know that one of them is Mirror Force, but my Dragster can take care of it. What is a problem is Maiden with the Eyes of Blue, but I come up with a solution. I summon the 2nd Junk Synchron and use it to climb into Junk Destroyer. His destruction effect doesn't target, and that allows me to get rid of Maiden. I attack directly, and finally we managed to pull the win streak off. 3 wins in a row, boys! We got it, and we got the $3 token. This changes everything for the next episode. We can finally get some basic stuff that is very much needed for the deck. So, let's return to the game footage. We have our second match in front of us, and this time we are playing against Cyber Dragons. The opponent starts by using Cybernetic Horizon, which searches him Cyber Dragon Core. He summons it and searches for Cyber Emergency, which he activates. That gives him Cyber Dragon Nexter. Nexter gets special summoned by discarding Hertz, which searches another Cyber Dragon Core. After that, he sets one back row and passes. I draw and drop MST, which ends up being a correct play, as I destroy his set Imperon. I then use Junk Converter with Steam Synchron to search for Junk Synchron, which I summon to revive Junk Converter. I mess up here, as I had Rota in hand, so adding Doppel Warrior would probably allow some big plays. I summon Speeder and use Junk Converter's effect to revive Junk Synchron. Summoning Nitro Warrior, I draw a card and then extend it into Colossal Fighter. Finally, using Rota, I search Doppel Warrior, but my play is already messed up. I revive Jet Synchron, which summons my Doppel Warrior, and then climb into Satellite Warrior, which wipes the opponent's board. Dropping Pot of Avarice, I recycle my monster to go +2. I then summon Junk Warrior, after which I finally summon Librarian. Using Junk Warrior, I summon Gaia and manage to draw a single card off of Librarian. Big misplays happening all over the place, boys. I then attempt Battle Phase, but he uses Electromagnetic Turtle to end it, which means no TK this turn. I end my turn with no negates on board, and the opponent starts off with a special summon off of core, which summons another core, and then he normal summons another core from hand. This searches another emergency, which searches for a copy of Cyber Dragon Dry. Using my Satellite Warrior and one of his cores, he summons Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon. He drops Cyberload Fusion to summon Chimera Tech Over Dragon, which clears my field with 3200 attack. He then attacks directly 2 times, and that leaves me on 200 life points. To end his turn, he sets a card and passes. I draw into Quillbolt, and that is game, as I have no answer to his monster. Second game against Cyber Dragons goes about the same. I start and combo into Stardust Dragon and Dragster. The opponent uses Future Fusion and then proceeds to activate it on the same turn, which isn't how the card is supposed to be played. I don't read the card, so I don't realize that, and he proceeds to send almost all of his monsters to the graveyard. He summons Core and then activates Overload Fusion, which banishes 15 of his monsters to summon Chimera Tech Cover Dragon. And that is game once again, boys. Okay, so this is our third and last game of the day, and we are playing against the Charmer deck that we last played against more than a year ago. I draw into 2 of the Garnet Synchros and a Quillbolt, so I set the Furry Boy and pass. The opponent sets 4 back row and a monster and passes back. I summon Steam Synchron and flip Quillbolt to go into the Junk Speeder and climb into Librarian and Gaia, that is used to summon Stardust, which is used to summon Satellite Warrior, which then pops 3 of her back row. I then use Pot of Avarice to go +2 and then use 1 for 1 to summon Boost Warrior from the deck. Quillbolt gets revived and then used to summon Colossal Fighter. I proceed to punch her Gigabyte, which summons Ryan Ryu, which I kill as well. I pass and she uses Monster Reborn to revive my Jet Synchron, with which she summons Ally of Justice Catastor and passes. On my turn, I combo off and go into Junk Destroyer, which clears her Catastor. That opens her up and we manage an OTK. For the second game, she goes first and summons Dogmatica Addy, which allows her to special summon Airy Fire. She apparently passes on that, and I use both of the tuning in hand to search 2 Junk Synchrons, while getting Jet Synchron into the grave. Using Synchron Carrier, I can normal summon Junk Synchron that revives Jet Synchron, and from there I combo using 1 for 1 once again to extend even further, and that allows me to end on Satellite Warrior and Dragster. With her board cleared, I attack directly with both and proceed to pass. She attempts to combo with Awakening of the Possessed and Luna, with which she tries to bounce, but Dragster negates the effect and destroys her. I draw into another carrier, and that allows another combo, which gives me the main boy, Junk Warrior. I drop her life points to 1400. She tries to use Awakening to draw again, but Dragster negates and she passes back, and that is last game for us, boys. So, what a day, boys. We finally played some proper games, and we managed to achieve the goal. We went on a win streak of 3 matches, and even though we lost immediately after that, we still have the $3 token. First, I want to comment on the match against the Cyber Dragon deck. After editing the match, I feel like I would have won both games if I didn't totally mess up my combo in the first one and realize that Future Fusion had to wait a turn before you can activate it. No problems though, as that just gives me confidence that the next time I duel against the deck, I will win. The second thing that I have to address is this part of the first episode. The 4 matches per episode rule should go, in my opinion. First, there is the fact that getting to arrange casual matches with people can take some time, and well, that greatly impacts my upload schedule. The solution to that are matches played on simulators, but for me personally, those are pretty boring to watch. So I am in favor of dropping the rule. But please tell me if you think differently. Now, it's time to do some planning for the future of our deck, boys. The frogs are leaving the deck, and this time it is permanently. Totally Awesome can't be summoned the turn 9 drop Junk Speeder, and Ronin Toadin is now banned because of some cheeky decks. That frees up 3 spots in the deck that we need to fill with some good product. We then have the extra deck. We finally have enough sleeves, and that means full extra deck, so we need to get some cards for it. We definitely need another negate / disruption, aside from FA Dawn Dragster. That could be a bunch of things, ranging in effectiveness and price. We should also look at the current list and find some replacements for the boys that didn't prove to be that useful. And then we have the problem with card storage. Right now I'm running around with my deck and all other cards smacked into the tin, which isn't ideal, especially if we want to keep our new cards looking great. That means that we need a deck box ASAP, with counters and dice as an optional purchase if we can afford them. Borrowing dice sucks. We have $8 to our name, so we can definitely afford some of the mentioned stuff, but that will happen in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please smash that like and subscribe button. Have a great day. Bye bye.